movies and films that you recommend all of us watching?
Great. Filmmakers, if you see the history of filmmaking, because I've studied films, so I have followed many filmmakers uh, uh, across time and genre. But in current, what kind of films you like?
So I like all kinds of movies, but I think in current times I like I like Shurjit Sarkar's movies and Rajkumar Hirani's movies. Yeah.
Yes, they are in current filmmakers in Hindi cinema filmmaking. Rajkumar Hirani definitely brings a lot of value, and his craftsmanship and his storytelling style is definitely one of the best. Even I like, as for the Hindi filmmaking, Sujit Sarkar definitely holds a big fort because of his narrative style and story and characters. Also, another person whom I like a lot is Vishal Bharadwaj for his wackiness and also exploring the psychological aspect of filmmaking of and characters who are not very seen. Mani Ratnam is one whom I admire a lot. From South there, and across the country, there are filmmakers in every language. Like Girish Kasravali is one of the prominent filmmakers from Bangalore, and who has won almost 6-7 national awards. Apart from Hindi filmmakers, there are Bengali filmmakers, there are Assamese filmmakers, there are filmmakers from Kerala, there are filmmakers from Karnataka, there are filmmakers from Punjab, who are doing very, 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 very good work, and their filmmaking styles are not publicly talked about because one of the most important filmmaking narratives which are happening and very good films are coming out of Maharashtra, you know. So you should check out regional film. Veda, where are you based? What kind of language? What is the mother tongue?
I speak Kannada at home.
Super. Kannada, if you see, there are fabulous films recently which had come in Kannada. I'm forgetting the film's name, which was a big hit. It was on the lines of Bahubali, but it was very well made. Yeah. So there are a lot of good films are coming from every language, and it is time right now that young students and prospective filmmakers like you should explore because our culture is so rich. Our stories are so rich in local languages itself. It is time that we bring out those stories in mainstream. You know, that's how Bengalis, Maharashtrians, Malayali, Tamil filmmakers are coming in a big force. Young filmmakers, many young filmmakers are coming. Like Leena Mani Miklai is one of the prominent filmmakers from Tamil Nadu, who's making good films. Arun Karthik is one of the prominent filmmakers who's coming out of Tamil Nadu. Girish Kasravali's son Apurva Kasravali is coming out from strongly from Karnataka, from Bangalore. You know, from Bengal, Gautam Ghosh has been one of the finest filmmakers from Bengal. In Hindi films, because Bollywood is so strong, Bollywood is talked about a lot. So we all often gotten used to the prominent names from Bollywood, like the person who made Chak De, Shrimit Amin. He's also one of the very good filmmakers from even Ashutosh Gawadikar's films are very good subjects. So these are few filmmakers. Even Santosh Shivan's some of the directorial ventures are very good. So there are many. Diwakar Banerjee Dibakar Banerjee is one of the prominent faces in Hindi film cinema. Even Anurag Kashyap, for that matter, he brings out different kind of filmmaking. Uh, there are I can talk about many filmmakers and many films in the recent times, particularly after advent of OTT and Netflix and Prime Video. A lot of young filmmakers have come and found their voices. You know, where age does not matter anymore. It's also all about storytelling. So, in order to inculcate good storytelling, one should read a lot. Read a lot of literature, stories, and also engage how the characters are, what kind of stories are. Stories which are very rooted, stories which are very human. One must read every kind of literature, English, Hindi, Sanskrit, local languages, other languages, Hungarian, Spanish, you know. So you never know what kind of influences connect to you and they remain with you, you know. One of the examples I will give you, I had read Italo Calvino long, almost 20, 25 years back, and that remained so much with me that I made my first ever film as a student in film school on based of that short story. I Indianized it. Because that story stayed with me. I not only Indianized it, but it connected with my landscape, you know, my mental landscape. And I started thinking about it, and it took me almost 3 months to uh, make that entire story within my head and write it down. One has to keep on reading a lot. No? So you never know. The reading not only literature but science biographies. Like so much has happened uh, in every but scientist's life, explorer's life. So that can also be uh, inspire you to connect to your life and can be a good subject for a film. So subjects are not external. Subjects are all inside you, which connects to you, which you want to bring it to the world. That's why these filmmakers are doing as well. You know? So it comes from music, folk art, folk music, stories from Dada Dadi ki kahaniyan. You know, your grandparents have stories to narrate. Your father's village must have so many stories. You know, so the stories are everywhere. Our life is full of stories because we live. When we live with lots of stories. But somehow, some stories remain with you, and that story you want to tell to someone, to your friends, to your family. And that's how filmmakers also do. They, okay, yeah, this particular story is resonating with me, and I want to bring this story in front of audience. You know, so that's how these filmmakers do it as well.
I think, Shanti, we have the next question. So this is from Siddharth. He says, "Sir, what would your advice be for a high school student trying to enter the world of filmmaking? Do we necessarily benefit from film school?"
So to add to that question also, I want to add to that question. Like to go for a different film schools, you have to qualify making portfolios. So like, can you I want to get into filmmaking world as a cinematographer. So can you give me a few points on how to make a portfolio for film schools and name some film schools that I could apply for, like India and abroad?
At least in India, I can tell you 10 film schools right now. There are film and my alma mater of FTII, which is one of the best. There is a Madras Film and Television Academy. There is Prasad's Film and Television Academy. There are Whistling Woods Films and Television Institute. SRFTII is in Calcutta. Bangalore Film and Television Institute. Pune Mass Communication. There are n number of mass communication schools which are also following, giving you film education and mass communication. So every university nowadays have mass communication and filmmaking department. So even Bangalore has Srishti. Chennai has two institutes. One is A.R. Rahman's A.R. Rahman is also training in music as well in sound recording. So that is another stream of filmmaking. Prasad Film Academy is very prominent in even Ramoji Film City in Hyderabad, Annapurna Film School in Hyderabad. So these are few 11 film schools in country which are running right now, which are running degree courses and master's courses. There are n number of film schools which are running orientation programs and as well as short-term courses. Like where I'm going to teach is one of the film schools is Rajiv Menon's Mindscreen Film Institute. They run short-term courses. This Digital Academy Film School where I teach, Mumbai University runs short-term courses. So once you Google it, you can find out at least 20-25 film and television courses which are running across the country. Bless you, Alistair. So, and as far as applying to film schools are concerned, one should start with still photography. One should start with still photography. And like in the last conversation, in the orientation program conversation, I had mentioned about the idea. So if you are starting with still photography, why you want to make that, why you want to take that particular photograph? What is the story behind that photograph? What is that photograph is telling you and telling the viewer? So you have to keep on exploring that aspect. It is not about just clicking the picture. So I and Alistair, we both are also going to start a short-term course for high school students as well, where we will be talking about, we will be taking our the short-term course about filmmaking and photography. There will be talking about a lot about why a photograph needs to be generated, why we are taking that photograph, how we are taking that photograph, what is the perfect picture. So filmmaking per se looks very easy from outside because it's full of glamour and glitz and celebrities, so-called celebrities. For us who work there, they're not celebrities. They are your co-workers, they are your colleagues. So though it looks from outside like sports, Maradona or Pele or Ronaldinho or Ronaldo or Messi is a football player. But for the world, they are the best football players. They are the celebrities, but they work really, really hard to be there. So filmmaking world is no doubt is a glamorous world, but it is a very, very hard working world. So one has to prepare themselves mentally and physically to be a hard worker. There is no second thought on that. A cinematographer, like I was shooting, I could not show, I don't know, because of the network, I could not show you guys how it was working there. I was working with a 25 kg camera, body rig on myself, and I was working 12 hours a day. And on top of it, I had to creatively involve with my characters and with the production as well to make it the best, make it look the best. So I cannot be bogging down that I am physically so tired, I cannot think. No. One has to be physically agile, mentally smart, and creatively fulfilling all the time. It's a very demanding job. Does that answer the question, Siddharth?
I think yes, it does. Yes.
So a few points on how to make a portfolio. Like how do we start?
Portfolio, get a good still camera and start taking pictures. You have to learn, but one has to learn how to take pictures as well. For that, you can join my course, or you can learn anywhere. There are many platforms where you can learn how to take pictures. There are many YouTube videos as well. Because getting a correct composition and correct exposure with correct feeling it comes with practice, and one needs to learn that.
So what is some good lighting equipment you would recommend? Some good economical lighting equipment for aspiring filmmakers to start off with, at least. Okay.
House bulb, tubes, get us any small LED lights which are available nowadays in shops and market. You know, it's not about equipment; it's about aesthetics. You can use, many times we often end up using these house bulbs, but how you're using that house bulb, how you're using your table lamp, how you're using your stem lamp, when you're asking the lighting equipment, what is the purpose of that lighting equipment, you have to be specific. Otherwise, this becomes a very vast question. You know, what is the purpose for which you are asking the lighting equipment? Is for lighting the face, the product, or lighting the space, or lighting a big space, lighting a stadium? What is the purpose of that lighting equipment?
Yeah, I guess to start off with, just lighting a small frame with a person in it. Ideally a portrait.
For the portrait lighting, there are many small LED lights which come with stand, which you can check on Amazon as well, and your Flipkart as well. There are many LED lights which come with stand. There are 500 watts, there are 1 kilowatts, there are 200 watts, you know, and they come in 6 inches sizes, they come in 1 foot sizes, and intensity can also vary from here and there, and they come from range of 1,000 to 2,000 to 10,000 depending on the quality and your budget. So these are little LED lights which are available, which you can use for your portraits.
The other question that's come in is from Siddharth. He asks, "Sir, would you suggest picking mass communication for an all-rounded approach, or do we directly go for the filmmaking course?"
Whose question is that?
Siddharth.
Siddharth, what is he studying right now? Is in 10th, 11th, plus 2. What is he studying? Accordingly, I can tell him.
Class 12th. He mentions class 12th.
Okay, so there are 2 types of courses which are running right now: bachelor's in mass communication and bachelor's in filmmaking as well. Bachelor's in mass communication gives you a less of filmmaking, but more of mass communication. It brings advertising, it brings how channel works, it brings many other modes of communication. Filmmaking courses are focused about filmmaking. Mass communication is a broader area. So you can start with mass communication, explore your interest, which area of mass communication you are interested in. Then maybe for the MFA or for masters, you can join filmmaking. Or right now, if you are very focused that I want to get into films, then join bachelor's in filmmaking.
Thank you.
For the focus. Yeah. If you are undecided that I don't know, I'm interested in media and communication and television and every other thing, and I don't know what kind of field I would be working for, I would suggest that better you explore mass communication.
Okay. Veda has a question. Is a DSLR camera good for shooting short films?
Yes, a good DSLR camera from Canon, Nokia, Nikon, Fuji are very good for short filmmaking. Even at this age of our experience, we end up shooting on DSLR many short films. So yes, the answer is that good DSLR, which records right now. People are recording in minimum in 4K because 4K is going to be the future for next 20 years. So if you are shooting any short film, try to shoot on the 4K enabled cameras with which brings good lenses. The short films can be shot on even a mobile phone, iPhone as well, or any particular phone which has good pixel cameras. You can shoot good quality short films. Again, I'm saying the quality of camera matters. What matters above that is your idea. What is your idea? What is the story? How you are saying that story? How you are? It's like, I will give an example. If your handwriting is good, does not matter which pen you are using it. Even with a almost very cheap 5 rupee pen, you can write beautiful poem, and even with expensive pen, you may not be able to write if your handwriting is not good. So it does not matter.
I had another question. So when you're making films, do you target larger audiences, or do you just do what you enjoy, what you would enjoy watching, and just expect that people like it?
Journey always starts with me. So you should make those stories what you enjoy the most. What you think that, oh my God, this story I want to tell. I want to write this story. I want to picturize this story. Start from there. So when you enjoy, see, it's like if you cook and it tastes good to you, I'm sure it will taste good to everyone else as well. You should enjoy the process. You should enjoy the story. And does not matter, initially I'm saying, when you're training yourself, you should enjoy it thoroughly. Does not matter even if you falter. It's fine. It's absolutely all right to falter. I'll tell you my story. When I entered film school, I had zero idea about filmmaking. I was a software geek. I made my first 3 short film, 3 shots. You had in 3 short film, you have to only take 3 shots. And that was the first time ever I was holding a camera and making a film. And I made it with my heart. Though my technique was not very good, I made it with my heart, and everybody loved it. Because people could see through it that I had made it with my heart, and I was saying a genuine story. So be honest to yourself. It's like when we were young, our parents had given us pen to write, right? How we faltered to write our first sentence or first word, it is the same thing. But with practice, we started writing 1 line, 2 lines, then essays, then class homework, everything. It is like that. Filmmaking process is also like that. So don't worry about audience right now.
So I had one question, like it's a personal question. Like I'm in engineering. I'll finish it in few years, and I've shot few short films in with my friends in the hostel, and I want to make it as my career as a cinematographer. So like, what steps should I take? Should I go into a film school, or should I take a year gap and work on my portfolio, then uh, go get into a film industry? Like, how to get into a film industry? Like, I am blank about it.
Since you are already making short films, you are already a filmmaker. In order to hone your skill, I suggest that you start honing your skill by attending various workshops while you're studying the film, whatever you're studying right now. See if you are. I would ask you a question. I would like to ask you a question. Why you want to go into cinematography? Why? What is the reason behind going to cinematography? Can you answer me
So,
that?
yes, sir. Like, whenever I see a object or I see anything, I always think how to shoot it, or how to show my perspective to the world. For example, if it's a bottle or anything, if it's there, my perspective towards that thing will always be different, and I'll be thinking how it would look good in my camera, and I would how I would show it to the world. So if it comes to lighting, like, one, if I keep the light and the subject different places, the mood of the picture will change for the whole, if I change the lighting. So I want to explore more about it and make movies. Like, if a director or a storyteller tells me a shot, my brain starts working that how can I show this to the public, or how I can get the exact storytelling view. So I want to get into cinematography for that. And I love cinematography and like playing with the lights.
Okay, great. Good to know that. So again, I'm saying, what was your question?
Like, how can I get into the industry? Like, exact, how can I start getting paid for it?
How you can start getting paid for it?
Yeah, to make it a career, obviously.
Basically, how you can be a professional cinematographer? That's what we're asking.
Yes.
Great. So what you are doing right now is correct path. Be at it. Learn. I would suggest learn from workshops. Learn from wherever you can learn. Learn it from, because it's a vast field. You have to find your niche. You have to explore your interests. You have to explore what you like the most. So for that, you have to be open. You have to train yourself. You have to learn what others are doing right now, and what is your real passion. Is the product is your real passion, or story is your real passion, or just lighting is your real passion, or composition is your real passion. So explore that. Give yourself that 2 to 3 years time. You know, give yourself 2 to 3 years time, and be in touch with me. I can help however way I can help.
Sure, sir.
Great. Okay, we have two questions, Shanti. So the first question is from Siddharth. He asks, what does your style of filming lean towards? For example, Fincher leans towards always having subjects in the center, and Kubrick loves the steady cam. How does a person discover their personal style in a field like this?
Very, very vast question again.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you guys are challenging me like this. so, uh, there's nothing called my personal style. I work little differently than others. For me, what matters to me, what is in front of me, what is the story which I am saying, what kind of story I am involved in. So every story has a style of its own. you know. When every story has its own demands, one has to fulfill that demand. One has to be justifiable to that particular story. That this is my personal thing. When I am working on a story, I get involved in that story. You can call me my style, but that's how I have been working. If I'm working on documentary, I work very differently than I work on fiction. Even in fiction, if I'm working on gangster film, I will work absolutely differently. If I'm working on romantic film, I will work absolutely differently. If I'm working on children's film, I will work absolutely differently. You know, so it depends on what kind of work I'm involved in. I put a lot of thought process. I work with my lenses. I work with my composition. I work with my light. I work very holistically. That you can say that is my personal style. But answering your question, once you are sure that you have got enough knowledge, okay, and you have explored enough, once you have explored enough, certain things you start liking about your own craftsmanship. And then you start repeating that. It's like your signature. Like many people write the signature and put a dot beneath that. Many people write the signature where, like I write my signature, S is very big, you know, and everything is small. Many people write very different signature. So your style emerges once you have gone through that entire process yourself, and then you have started underlining those methods, which becomes your style. So David Fincher's style, if you see, has not evolved from his first film. It has evolved over a period of time. Or for any filmmakers have evolved after certain films, they have started underlining and started leaving their marks there. And then you know, okay, this is David Fincher, this is N number of filmmakers, like any filmmakers have their own style. Like Subhash Ghai used to come in his films once. You know, so when you see Bhansali's film, you know this is Bhansali film. Right. But when you work on Khamoshi, on his first film, you will not find it is a Bhansali film. You know, so the style evolves over a period of time when you start practicing more and more, explore more and more, and once you have learned it and you start writing your second novel, second story, your style emerges.
Okay, thank you, Shanti. The other questions from Veda: what are some experiences in your life which have shaped you as a filmmaker? That's a question from Veda.
Experiences. So I'm old. You can see me with my white beard. I like life has been. Every experience of in my life, Veda, has taught me something and taught me to be a better person. I have taken every experience, good, bad, ugly, taken in my stride and made them into my experience. Have taken them as, okay, one good experience or bad experience is just like another story in your life. And you add those stories in your life novel and you keep growing further. You keep going forward. You look back in order to analyze it, but you don't get bogged down by it. Because life is about various experiences. You will have fantastic experiences. You will have very bad experiences. You will have almost numbing experiences. You will have very ecstatic experiences. Every kind of experiences should be earned and cherished. Like if you are driving on highway, there will be a toll naka, there will be potholes, but your journey does not stop. Then you stop for food, then you stop for water, but all that journey does not stop. So every kind of experience should enrich you and should make you move forward. Like, I will tell you one experience of mine. I'm a science graduate, never thought of going in films. When I was in graduation, I would never thought that I would be going in films. Then I went into software. After these two studying experiences, and I traveled a lot during my student days. I told you that I took 1 year break and I traveled all over the country just with my small pocket money. At one point of time, my money I had exhausted my money, so I found a job in a hotel. I worked as a waiter to earn some money back to buy ticket for further destination. So you have to be, so these are the experiences where it is not for me, these are experiences which enriched me. So coming back to science and software, when I came to film school, everybody thought that why this career switch suddenly from software to film, because these are opposite. But for me, when I started studying films, when I started studying cinematography, when I started studying sound, when I started studying editing, I started seeing things in processes which software had taught me. I started seeing everything in modules. I started seeing that entire cinematography is about physics, which I had studied in my graduation. The ideas of Stanley Kubrick, the Space Odyssey, was all about physics and astronomy, which I had studied. So nothing what I studied was going waste. Actually, that was enabling my growth faster, because I was getting the most difficult question of filmmaking. My software and science background was making it easier for me to comprehend. And I was catching up with my experienced batchmate faster than ever. And by end of 6 months, I was like equal to everyone. So that experience, so that's why every experience was bridging the gap. Every challenging situation, because I had taken a break, I had traveled on my own. I knew I was comfortable in exploring the unknown territories while we were doing the location recce. So location recce is something where you write a story and then you find your location where you would be filming it. And that is a very, very beautiful process where you go and travel on your own and explore that, okay, my story is going to happen here and I will be filming my story in this landscape. So because I had experience of NCC, I had experience of adventure sports, you know, I was going to unknown territories without fear. I would not, though I would be carrying my water bottle, but if my water bottle would get exhausted, then I would walk into anybody's house and shamelessly ask, can I have some water, please? So, you know, those, so you should, as a filmmaker, but an adventurer, so you should be able to relate with people. Because I had that experience, I could move in faster.
Any questions? Okay.
Yeah, I had another question. It's, I think, specific to the Hindi film industry. So that's one of my, dreams to be there and to do Hindi films, because I really enjoy Hindi, but I never got to learn it properly. So I think that's what makes me even more driven. And so I wanted to know what are some of the challenges you think which are unexpected but do come in the film industry and that are not talking about much.
Can't hear you, Shanti. Hello.
Saying, what did she ask? She asked about challenges in film industry.
Yes. Yes.
Can you hear me now? Better.
Yes.
So, whether to be really honest and upfront about it, film industry, filmmaking per se, is a challenging career. Challenging career in the sense because we have not 9 to 5 job type of scenario. And it's physically very demanding, mentally very demanding, emotionally very demanding. So I'm not trying to discourage you. I'm just trying to tell you the reality of it. So that because when I came into films, nobody was there to tell me all these things. That okay, you have to mentally prepare yourself to come into films. There will be challenging of late nights, travel alone, you can live alone or choose to live with a group. That is up to you, or live with a family. But all this while, one thing is there, when you're on film set, you are so engaged and invested that you just get consumed into it. You love every moment of it because so much goes on a film set. So much goes on. Simple example I'll tell you, like 5 of us or 10 of us are talking together right now at this moment in time. Suppose we are making a scene out of it. We are creating a scene of 10 people talking together in a classroom. What are the preparation to be made for that? There are 2 ways of doing it. Either you create a set or you shoot in a school, right? Real school. If we are shooting in a real school, then there's a different mechanism that needs to be followed. You need to get permission from the school. Then you have to, according to your story and you have to fulfill the requirement. What kind of school and what kind of classroom you're looking for. You have to prepare that particular classroom which you have identified that we will be filming here according to your vision. So there will be art direction, there will be wall painting, there will be fixtures and furnitures, and everything needs to be organized. So this is an entire event. Then there will be lighting requirement, there will be camera requirement, there will be costumes, there will be makeup, there will be transport, there will be food, there will be tea, there will be, so this entire thing becomes making every scene becomes an event in itself. So for everything you need to prepare a lot. So it is very consuming for you. So because it's so consuming for you, one has to train themselves to be mentally prepared and mentally strong and physically also agile. That okay, I can take these high pressure situations all the time and I'm ready for it. And as far as people are concerned, people are focused, people are very communicative, many people are very, very genuine. You will find very warm people on the set, very caring people as well. But when it comes to work, everybody will be focused that we need to get this work done. It's very like a classroom where a teacher comes with an agenda. Okay, I need to follow this much and this is my syllabus for today. This is exactly happens on a film set. Every day there will be a target and that target needs to be achieved. That filming has to be done. That scene needs to be complete. And how one completes it is up to us as a team. How we communicate each other, how do we behave with each other, how we, so it becomes, there it becomes individual temperament. What kind of personality we all are and how diverse group of people come together. And then we start the match. So don't worry, if you are interested in joining Hindi film industry in future, watch a lot of Hindi films, get your Hindi language or English, because hardly people talk in Hindi. Mostly people talk in English. So that is not, Hindi films are made in Hindi on a screen, but all the instructions are written and given in English. So that's not a problem. In order to become a filmmaker, but you should know, in order to make films in Hindi, one should know the language, the nuances of language, so that you can create dialogues, you can create scenes, you can understand that language. So how one says, hello, kaise ho? Like in Kannada, they say, how are you? How do you say it? Chinagite, right?
Yeah, Nivegitira.
Name, what is your name? Name the husru. So how in Hindi you say, तुम्हारा नाम क्या है? आप कहाँ के रहने? So in Hindi, you is replaced by आप or तुम. So तुम कहाँ के रहने वाले हो? तुम्हारा घर कहाँ पे है? In English it is very easy. How are you? Where are you going? But every language has its dynamics, and we are a diverse country. We should be able to identify the nuances of language. In my small travel, I try to pick up every language. Like I really love it. When I go to Karnataka, travel in Karnataka, I really love picking up the language, and at least so that you can communicate to people and also ask for small favors like food, water from small shopkeepers. How will you ask? Otherwise, they will not understand English.
We have one more question. How does a person overcome writer's block? I've always had that problem of not being able to implement my idea in a screenplay.
Whose question is that?
How do you overcome writer's block?
Writer's best way to subvert or to come over the writer's block is to take it easy. That is the best way. When you have hit the writer's block, like I was writing something, I was writing a web series, and at one point of time I got stuck. It's been almost 2 weeks and I have been away from that story. Though it's running in my head 24/7 at the back of my mind, but I'm not forcing myself. So number one, take it easy. Number two, find a trusting partner or a friend with whom you can have open conversation, that he or she will give you some idea which may unlock that block. These are the two. Or third thing, you can take break from that particular idea and start completely divert your mind doing something absolutely else, and at some point of time that answer will come to you.
Great. Super. All right. Anything else? So we will be having the mentorship class where Shanti Bhushan will be taking a proper class, right, which will have the details, right? So we are hoping to see some of you in that class, right? Shanti, do you want to talk about it maybe a little? What is the plan? What are you planning to teach in that class?
Yeah, I wish there were more people around it, but yeah, I can definitely talk about it. I and Alistair are planning to do a short-term course on filmmaking, which is going to involve a little bit more detailed approaches and steps we'll be talking about. Like we'll be talking about photography a little bit more in detail. We'll be talking about sound design a bit more in detail. We'll be talking about what is a shot and how the scenes are made and how do you write a film in detail. How do you convert your idea into a story into a screenplay, and a screenplay into filming, and what are the modules, and how do you break down the modules, and how do you execute those modules? You know, and what are the grammar of filmmaking? Like, what are different kind of shots are there? You know, how do you take those shots, and what those shots convey? What are different kind of camera angles? What kind of a certain kind of stories are there? Then what kind of shot takings are already practiced, and how they have become norm, and that needs to be, and how you portray a person, how you create the perspective in a particular way. You know, so we will be covering these 10, 15 things more in detail, and how edit is done on paper and how edit is done on video, and how the trimming happens. Though that there are a lot of, and we'll be also talking about what are the softwares nowadays which has enabled and have made it easy for all of us to make it our understanding better and faster. So this will be really a capsule course, and we will be charging a very nominal amount. And I really want to do this because if at your age, if I had this chance to learn filmmaking, my choices career path would have been different than how I went around and traveled and moved around and came back.
But as you said, I think that experience helped you, right? That experience
Yes.
of software engineer, right? So yeah,
it helped me a lot. But now you can have the same experience, but after learning the craft as well, you can go for the same experience.
right.
You can have the craft and explore your life, explore your landscape with that tool and with that knowledge.
Veda's asking, how long is the course that you're planning?
I think it would be a weekend course. Alistair, I'm forgetting, what did we discuss?
I will have to look at it. So we anyways inform all of you. Yeah, when is the course? How long is the course? So that is something we need to have that discussion internally.
Yeah, we still are in a very, we have not finalized the number of hours it will be involved, but it will be a weekend course.
Yes.
And it will be based on exercises. It will not be a theoretical, typical theoretical and PowerPoint presentation course. It will be a very practice-oriented course where you will be, I'll be guiding you through to use even your mobile camera, you know, just as simple mobile camera, and to narrate a story in a better way.
All right.
So I think we had around 20-hour course or something like that.
Siddharth is asking, sir, do you have an email ID or a number where we could reach out in case we have any doubts in the future?
Yes, definitely. You can give them my WhatsApp number. It's 9820693331 is my number. And my email ID is shantibhushanroy@gmail.com, which is also there on my website. You can access my website and see all the information is there. I'm also I engage particularly with students in particular. I reply their messages quite instantly on my Instagram as well. So that is the best way to get in touch. Like my ID, Instagram ID, I think is Shantibhushan DP or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
Do you take interns for cinema?
Yes, I do. Right now, I have 4 interns with me.
How do you apply, sir?
First, learn something. You cannot come blank, because on the set it is very demanding. So there it is all about getting the job, getting the work done. Right now, all my interns who are there on the set, because interns' work becomes very important as well, because they have to be extension of my eyes as well. So every instruction which I give to production or to lighting department, they need to write it down so that it's their learning as well. You know, because every instruction is given with a thought process, and then we analyze it why the instructions were given in a particular way. So all my interns had been asked to sketch the entire lighting and set design and set diagram, which we are going to talk about in our capsule course, that how do we sketch a set, how do we create a set design. So these are the so keep working, keep your antennas open, ears open, eyes open, and definitely whatever way I can help you guys, I'm here to help.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shanti. So we are hoping to see some of you in Shanti's next course. Yeah. So, but all the best, and do stay in touch with Shanti and with me as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody had question. I saw some pop-up question.
Is it? Did I miss something?
Yeah, some pop-up came on my screen.
I think I've covered. The last question was, do you have any email ID done?
Some question about Roger Deakins or something.
Sorry?
Yeah, Siddhartha has a question. What makes Roger Deakins the best cinematographer of this generation?
I don't even know who is Roger Deakins.
Roger Deakins is a famous cinematographer who did recently he did with James Bond's last film. What was the name of the film?
The Daniel Craig one. The one.
Golden something.
I see. Okay.
Siddhartha, what was the name of the Skyfall? Yes, yes. Okay. Even 1917 for that matter. Roger Deakins is not from this generation. He's the great grandfather of cinematography. The great grandfather who is still alive and still practicing at age of 70 and 70 plus.
Wow.
Almost like that. So yes, the best part of Roger Deakins' cinematography is that he does not follow any particular style of cinematography, like I had discussed earlier. That every frame, every time he works in a film, the story of film and the characters guides him to merge with that entire storytelling narrative. Over a period of time, if you observe, he has developed one particular style. His compositions and his style of filmmaking is very classic. It does not get into show off. His compositions are always very still frame kind of composition. And he lets his character play. And there will be one element in his frame which will be out of the world, which he creates. And to learn, and also because he is from old school, he, like all of us, many of the old cinematographers, he takes a lot of inspiration from classical paintings. So in order to become a visual artist, you have to not only start reading all the good literature, but also start seeing all the classic paintings. So you can take this note, Alistair, for all of them, that start watching, seeing all the classic paintings of all the world masters, in order to train yourself or become a good visual artist. It's very important. In order to become an actor, you have to see how the great actors are working. In order to become a great writer, you have to start reading great writers. In order to become a filmmaker, you have to start seeing the classic cinema. We all take inspiration from each other. Everyone everybody has genius in them. Every one of us has genius in them. It is about how you instigate and preserve that genius in you and not get bogged down by what audience wants.
I think that
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much. Very inspiring.
Salute to Veda, Paro, Siddhartha. Who else I'm missing?
I think. Thank you so much, Shanti. I think it was a very inspiring session, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So have a good weekend, everybody, and see you soon. Yeah.
Yes, and be in touch.
Thank you.
And be in touch.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Send me the recording.
Thank you, Alistair.
Yes, I will share the recording, Shanti. Yes.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.